Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, respected teachers and my beloved companions and audience. Today we will present about a famous scholar who is Al-Jahiz, inshallah. Al-Jahiz, the pioneer of Muslim scholarship, exploring the contribution of a great scholar. uh, Look into the picture, you can see it is a stamp published by Syrian Arab Republic, modern Syria, depicting the Jahiz. It's not his image but a depiction by the painter. Inshallah, towards this presentation, we will provide a comprehensive overview of Jahiz's life, background, and his uh, education, family, and intellectual environment. And we will highlight Jahiz's major works and contributions to detail the key texts authorized by him, inshallah. And we will analyze the impact of Jahiz's ideas on various disciplines to explore how Jahiz's theories, partially his ideas on evolution and adaptation, have influenced later scholars and field of study both in Islamic world and beyond, inshallah. And we will discuss the relevance of Jahiz's contribution to modern times. We will encourage a critical reflection of Jahiz's legacy, and we will showcase the importance of interdisciplinary scholarship, inshallah. Uh, we will move towards the biographical sketch of Jahiz. You can see his lifetime was from um, 700 76 to 868. His full name was Abu Usman Amr ibn Bahr al-Kinani al-Fuqaymi al-Basri, which means he was connected toward the Basra and in Iraq, and he was a Fuqaymi scholar, and he was inclined toward the Kinani tribe. But he was not famous but this word, but he was famous for another name, which was Jahiz, which means the bug-eyed. He has some issues or ill with his eyes. And very relevantly, he was born into a poor family in Basra, today's Iraq. He was self-taught in various disciplines, frequenting mosques and study circles. Because he was poor student, so he was no money to go to major institutions or madrasa. So he was he was studying this kind of knowledge, various knowledge by himself, because he was going towards the mosque in that period. He was born in golden era of Muslim Islam, in Abbasid time. So the mosque were the center of knowledge, epistemic center of knowledge. Various disciplines were discussed in various circle of provided in knowledge. Scholars were delivering classes, lectures in mosque, and there was some study circle in, even it may be in mosque or in some house. So he was attending this and studying this. And very relevantly, his grandfather was a Kamlir or Jamal or Hamal potter, which means his father's legacy was not a scholastic one. And very relevantly, he was inclined toward the black Mawali protege, which means he was a slave tribe. He was lived as a as a slave, because Mawalis, who was Mawla, which means a slave in Islamic history. So even though he was inclined toward the family of slaves, he became as a pioneer of Muslim scholarship. Inshallah, we will discuss how he was. He was a 9th century Arabic writer and polymath. Various disciplines he has covered. And very relevantly, sometimes he has no money, so he sold fish along one of his canals in Basra to help his family. Financial difficulties, however, did not stop Jahiz from constantly seeking knowledge, because he was very curious about knowledge. And we will discuss about the education. Over a 25-year span studying, he studied over 25 years. Jahiz acquired a considerable knowledge of Arabic poetry, Arabic philology, which means in Sarf, Arab Sarf wa Nahr, and pre-Islamic Arabic history and Quran, Hadith. He translated books on Greek science and Hellenistic philosophy. Hellenistic philosophies attached to the Plato and Aristotle and this kind of Greek philosophers, especially that of Greek philosopher Aristotle. He was very familiar with the books of Aristotle. Jahiz was also critical of those who followed Hadith Abu Huraira because referring to Hadith opponents as Nabita, the condemnable, which means he has some issues with who accepting the hadith of Abu Huraira. He was confusions. He has some confusion about the hadiths of Abu Huraira. Whenever and very relevantly, so this seems how his knowledge was spread over. And very relevantly, whenever a book came into the hand of Jahiz, read through it. Whenever he happened to be, he used to rent a shop of Warraqun for study, because sometimes he will have no a house to ignite the light, or we said he was a poor family, he has no much money. So if he was got a book, or he saw a book, he in a bookshop, he will take care of the book at night time, because at night time there will be not much people. So he take care of the warraqun, that means this bookshop, and he will rest in that bookshop until the morning to complete his reading. He was very curious about knowledge. Why this? He This why he was living the sleep, and he was very curious to read entire night without sleep, mashallah. And his career in Basra, he wrote an article about institution of caliphate. This is said to be have been a beginning of his career as a writer, which would become his sole source of living. So he was his main income was writing. It is said that his mother once offered him a tray of full notebook and told him he would earn his life from this writing. So his mother have blessed him, giving a full tray of notebooks, saying that he will earn for your entire life by this writing, inshallah. And he went on writing 200 books, very interestingly, 200 books in his lifetime on various subjects, including on Quran, Arabic grammar, zoology, poetry, lexicography, rhetoric, balagha, nah. And Jahiz was also one of the first Arabic writer who suggested a complete overhaul of language grammatical system. Through this would not be undertaken, and his fellow linguistic Ibn Mada took up the matter 200 years later in Baghdad. So he was a first writer to complete a overhaul language grammatical system through in Muslim world. This his record was only broken after 200 years later in Baghdad by Ibn Mada, by his fellow. And Khalif Ma'mun, very interestingly, he was also taking the position of teaching, because Khalifate Ma'mun wanted Jahiz to teach his children, but then he changed his mind when his children were frightened by Jahiz bogle eyes. We said he has his eyes were his eyes have some issues. So the children afraid of the Ma'mun's, the king's princess and child's children were afraid of his eyes. So the Ma'mun left the position. It seems that he was a writer and also very prolific teacher also. Inshallah, we will cover major rights. It includes Kithabul hayawan, the book of animal, and another one is book of Mrs. Kithabul Bukhala, and third one is Kithabul Bayan with Tibian, the book of eloquence and demonstration, and fifth one is Fakhr Sudan al Bilan, the pride of blacks over whites. Very interesting work. Inshallah, we will discuss about his various published work in later time. He has many works. He wrote many books in major fields like theology. In theology, he has many works like Al-Farq Bain al-Nabi wal-Mutanabi, the difference between prophet and one claiming to be prophet, and Al-Maghrifa, the knowledge. Ar-Raddu ala Suhab al-Ilham, refutation of those who claim to have divine inspiration. Al-Mukhatat fi Tawheed, the discourses about oneness. الاستطاعة الاستطاعة وخلق الأفعال, predestination and creation of Allah action. إمامة الإمامة على مذهب الشيعة, the imamate according to the doctrine of Shia. These are different works of Jahiz published in theology, and he has also in books in history and cultural studies. Al-Ashiq Al-Nashi wal-Mutalashi, the amorous, the growing hot and growing cold. And as-sultan wa akhlaquhu wa ahlu, the government and the dispositions of its people. And Jamharatul Muluk, the assembly of kings. That's like Al-Muluk wal-Umam al-Salifa wal-Baqiya, the king and the nations, the extinct and those surviving. These are books related to kingdom and politics and historical and cultural studies. And he has also many works in social and ethical works. For example, the Tamthil, the comparison, and Fadlul Ilm, the excellence of learning. Al-Hazm wal-Azm, the steadfastness and resolution. Al-Khalaq al-Muluk, disposition of king. Dhamm zina, denouncing for sination. And Bukhala, miseries. And we will focus about the four books, inshallah. First and most important work of Jahiz is Kithabul hayawan, the book of animal. A pioneer work in zoology and natural science, contains observation on animal behavior, evolution, adaptation, food chain, and many different species of animal. And it was written in service to God. Very interesting. He has written this work not to any pleasure of any king of his famous fame, but he wrote it only to the service of God, and partly in response to Aristotle's biological book, which is Historia Animalium. It has some parts 1 to 10, and the De Farbitus Animalism from 11 to 40, and De Generatione Animalia, which is 50 to 90. So his work was a response towards Aristotle's biological book, countering his arguments. So the book covers a broad range of topic beyond a just description of animal. This is not only a description of animal; it includes insight to Arabic culture, very interesting, and poetry and proverb, jurisprudence, and other subjects that reflect the social and intellectual life of Jahiz. So he not only include the about the description of animals, but he includes the about this proverb, the fiqh, and share, bites, and many things which if you read the Kitab al-Haywan, you can see his masterness on every subject. So what is the content and source of the book? The Jahiz is reliant on numerous sources for this information, including religious texts. So his sources were religious texts, poetry, secondly Quran wa Sunnah, so secondly Abiyat, Share, Diwan, and literature, and personal observation. He also obtained some personal observations, and personal observation, his work has a significant impact on later studies in zoology and Arabic literature. And his approach was combination of observational science and anecdotal narratives. So emerged by the observational science and anecdotal narratives. These are some depiction from the books. You can see the depiction of crocodile and duck. So how they adapt and how they live. What are the biology of these animals and these birds. So the book is divided into various sections that covers a range of topic like debate between animals like the rooster and the dog. There is some part where the rooster and dog debates, and studies of different animals such as pigeon, flies, bats, ants, and comparison between humans and animals. Very interesting. and it also delve into the nature of different animals and their impact on human life and the natural world. So the book reflects the comprehensive view of life through the study of animals and their relationship with humans and the environment, but no description of food. Very interestingly, he lived in Baghdad, and Arabian culture. So there is not much water containing sources like ponds or river. So this why he didn't included the fish. Very interesting. So it is very interesting that he did not included the fish because he it was an ethical, not only a description but also an ethical and a social experiment one also. Inshallah, we will discuss about its importance in zoology in later slides. And second book is Kitabul Bukhala, Book of Misers. It is considered as one of the greatest work of Arabic satire. Very interesting, exploring human psychology and social behavior. Look into the discipline covered by Jahiz: sociology, psychology, zoology. Very interesting. And Arabic literature. It is collection of stories about greedy, humorous, and satirical. He ridiculous schoolmasters, beggars, the ridiculous schoolmasters, beggars, singers, and scribes for their greedy behavior. So he includes about the greediness and the it is a satire work of beggars, singers, scribes for their greedy behavior. Greedy behavior. Many of the stories continue to be reprinted in magazines throughout the Arabic speaking world even now. It's reflect the keen observation of social behavior. He observed the society and right as a social behavioralistic approach. And third book of Jahiz, which is famous in Arabic language and Arabic balagha and rhetoric, is Kitabul Bayani wa Tibyan, the book of eloquence and demonstration. A key text on Arabic rhetoric and elegance explored the art of persuasion and communication. It is balagha, which includes about the how to communicate effectively. He wrote on epiphanies and rhetoric speeches and sectarian leaders and princes. The book is considered to have started Arabic literary theory in formal and systematic fashion in first time. And he defined of eloquence as a ability. He defines elegance or balagha as the ability of speaker to deliver an effective message while maintaining its and brief or elaborate at will. So it is not matter how much brief, how much elaborate, but it depends on how deliver effectively message. It was widely accepted by later Arabic literature critics. So this definition was very interesting definition, which was as relied on later Arabic literary critics. And third work is Kitabul Fakhr Sudan al Bilan, the pride of blacks over whites. In modern time, we discuss about the major, for example, black theories and black movements and this kind of studies. But this book is compared as an imaginary debate between black people and white people as to which group is superior. So Jahiz look into the who is superior. Is black superior or white superior? Very interesting work in this modern time. We will where we discuss about the black theories and subaltern theories. Al-Jahiz mentions the black have an oratory and eloquence of their own culture. So Jahiz mentioned black have a superiority over oratory and eloquence on their own culture and language. He exemplified his approach to discussing social issues with sharp and often humorous perspective. So we can understand he was a Mawali, a slave, and his lineage was linked to the black people and slave people. So he right towards the he pens towards the right of the black people and their superiority over white people. The book explores the theme of cultural pride and identity, focusing on the achievements and contribution of black people. He uses a blend of humor and satire to address social issues and racial issues, comparing and contrasting different cultures and societies. So you can see the book Rasailul Jahil. There are some letters. The Fakhr Sudan Al Bilan is also a great among the famous letter from that. It was an earliest critical engagement towards white supremacy as a black liberation movement starts. Today we like Martin Luther and Malcolm X, and there are so many scholars and Sherman Jackson. So they engage with the blacks liberation movement. But Jahiz itself, he wrote about the supremacy of black over whites in some subject. He summarized that there is no supremacy between the white or black until there is taqwa. So he superior. There are some field where the blacks are superior. There are some field the whites are superior, and inshallah, now onwards we look into the contribution of Jahiz. His contribution to literature and linguistics. You can see the reader in Jahiz, the epistemology rhetoric of an Arabic prose master, written by Thomas Hefter. So in his book, he says he developed a unique style of combination, humor, wit, and erudition, and contributed to spread the development of Arabic prose, rhetoric, and eloquence. His major work, we discuss about it, Kithabul Bayan with Tibyan, are a foundational study of Arabic rhetoric. He analyzed language, speech, and importance of clear communication. Even in Kithabul hayawan, he merges a zoological expedition with the existing Arabic literature of prose and poetry. Not only he merged between the literature and the science, which is impossible today's modern scientific world. So he merged with he removed the distance between literature and science, and he blended serious scholarship with the entertaining storytelling. This when we reading the academics, we often seems it is dry, having no sense of humanity, having no sense of feeling. But he blended the serious scholarship with the entertaining storytelling. Ibn Khaldun regarded, very interestingly, Ibn Khaldun considered four kitab as a essential text in Arabic literature. One is the Kithabul Bayan wa Tibyan, among the Adabul Katib, Al-Amali. These are he regarded among these works Kithabul Bayan wa Tibyan as a foundational text of Arabic, and his contributions towards the biology and natural science. You can see in picture image of Jahiz and Darwin. He introduced early theories on evolution. He suggested that animals adapt to their environment, an idea resembling natural selection before 1,000 years before Darwin did. Very Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Observation in zoology. He detailed studies of animal behaviors, classification, ecology of more than 35 varieties of animal. He introduced about the food chain and animal behavior of 150 varieties of animal. Al-Jahiz writes, animal engage in a struggle for existing and for resources to avoid being eaten and to be bred. He also says extincting is and very inclusive so approach to humanity. For example, he says animal engage in struggle for existing and for the resources to be avoided and to avoid being eaten and to be bred. So it is resembling, the theory is resembling the survival of the fittest of Darwin. And in the research, he is very inclusive. For example, he used the pigeon as an analogy. For example, he observed that there seem to be many natural forms of sexuality, including homosexuality in males and females, as well as varying preference regarding domination. So he says the sexuality differs. Even modern time says. So he says about the homosexuality in males using the example of pigeon. He was a genius in science of zoology, and he knew how to obtain anomia and salmonic form of animal oils from dry distillation. He knew animal embryology, evolution, adaptation, animal psychology, and sociology. of animals. For example, in zoology, you can see it's a work by Mehmet Bayradkar. He says, as far I'm known, this book is first zoological book in the history of Islamic thought. Kithabul hayawan was the object of many studies and had great influence upon later Muslim scientists. Why them upon Europe? So, the Kitab al-Haywan is a landmark book which influenced Muslim scientists and why Muslims towards Europe. It became a source for later books on zoology. Al-Jahiz many sentences are quoted by Ikhwan Safa and Ibn Misqawai, and many passages are quoted by Zakaria al-Zakhzwini in his Kitab al-Makhlukat by the Mustafa al-Qazwini, and his Nuzhatul Qulub, and by Darimi in his Hayatul Hayawan. So the Hayatul Hayawan by Darimi, Nuzhatul Qulub by Qazwini, and Makhlukat, Ajaib al-Makhlukat by Zakaria al-Qazwini was quoted Jahi's work. For example, there are so many passages of Jahiz which resembles to modern time as a Darwin's theory. For example, food chain. The rat goes out for collecting his food, and so it searches for and seizes it them. It eats some other inferior animal like small animals and small birds. It hides its babies in disguised underground tunnels for protecting them and himself against the attack of snakes and of the birds. So the rat and animals hides their babies from the attack of snake and bird, and snake like eating rats very much, so the snake eat rat. And for snakes, they are defended by some from the danger of beavers and hyenas. So the snakes are eaten by beavers and hyenas, which are more powerful than themselves. So the survival of the fittest. The hyena can frighten the fox, and the later frightens all animals which are inferior to it. This is the law that some existence are the food for others. So some are food of others. All small animals eat small ones, and all big animals cannot eat bigger ones. Men which each other are like animals, God make cause of somebody's life. Very interesting. So he about the food chain he says, and in another passage he says, without doubt we have seen some Nabatean navigators resembled the ape in some geographical environment. Likely we have also seen some people from Morocco and have found them as like as al-Masakh, except for the little difference. So the ape and humans are same in only in difference are very narrow, according to Jahiz. And it is possible that the polluted air, water and dust made change in character of these Moroccans. So how the apes different from Moroccans? They may be differed from the some polluted water and using of some polluted air or water. It is if this effect goes on more in them, those changes in breasts, airs, colors and form similar to ape increase more. So the difference between ape and humans may be in later time go on because its color, ear, bristles may differs. So his theory on environmental determinism, you can see environmental determinism is how the environmental fact influence in their organism to develop their characteristics. It is called environmental determinism. For example, our environment will determine our development and characteristics itself. It's said by Jahiz also, environmental facts influenced by organism to develop new characteristics to ensure survival, thus transforming them to a new species. Animals that survive to breed can pass their successful characteristics to their offspring. As you know, the mechanics of evolutions, Jahiz described three mechanisms. There are struggle for existence, transformation of species into each other, and environmental factors. So there are environmental factors which influence to develop new characteristics of survival in the species. it is argued that the environment plays a crucial role in shaping of characteristics of living being. He proposed the idea about the adaptation survival that predate the modern evolutionary theory. So it is significant that he recognized that as the early precursor to environmental and ecological studies. So influenced later science to Islamic world after it's by the towards the Europe, while the environmental determinism is it was developed by the Hippocrates and Aristotle. So his theory, Aristotle's theory of environmental determinism was developed and detailed by the Jahiz. And we will discuss about the his contributions towards the Islamic theology, and we discuss about his contribution to theology. He was a Mu'tazili scholar or Mu'tazili theologist. Proponent of Mu'tazili school. He emphasized reason and rationality in Islamic theology as every Mu'tazili. He wrote extensively on the topic of free will, justice, and nature of the God, debates and polemics. He engaged with the philosophical question, partially though concerning ethics and metaphysics. He also advised for the use of reason and logic in theology. He engaged in theological debates, defending Mu'tazili's views against other school of thought. He emphasized a precise scientific approach in his writing, starting with skepticism and subjecting ideas to critique. He used induction to make rational and realistic generalization, embodying the image of thinker who relied on rigorous analysis and research uncovered truth. So his approach toward the methodology of study research also very interesting. And his ethnographic contribution if we read the books of Jahiz, we can see how the books are related to the society. He observed the society as an ethnographer. He addressed a topic like class structure, like who is superior, black or white, education, and role of women. He called for the equality and coexistence. His work filled with cultural observation, even though it was animal or greedy people. So his books are filled with the cultural observation. He wrote about the customs, tradition, and daily life of people in Abbasid time. His works provide a valuable insight to culture of his time. So this is why the fish is not included in Kithabul hayawan. He is as a landmark of Islamic civilization. He influenced thinkers like Ibn Khaldun, Ibn Rushd, and Ibn Tufail. His work laid ground for later developments in various scientific and literary fields. Through translation, his idea reached in Europe during Renaissance. Thus, he contributed indirectly to the development of European scientific thought. In conclusion, we can say he was a polymath. Very interestingly, he was scholar in theology, Islamic field, zoology, ethnography, various fields, and Arabic literature. His contribution laid the ground for future developments in various fields, and he was a testament of golden age of Islam. His works exemplify blend of literal curiosity and literary skill. So Jahiz was a polymath, and he was a pioneer of Islamic scholarship in conclusion. So may Allah bless to study more about the Islamic legacy and civilization. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.